All right. Hello, hello, hello. I was a little bit behind. I'm here now. Okay. Today's astrology. So the day holds some restless energy, but we can learn much from today's turning points and conversations. With the sun opposite Jupiter, recent excesses can come to light, demanding a change of shuffling of priorities. At issue now are conflicting urges regarding what we think we should do versus want to do. There are two areas of life where we have a particular need to shine, grow, and improve, resulting, where are we? Oh, represented by the sun in Libra and Jupiter in Aries. But these may seem to be in direct conflict with one another at this time. Culminations of expected changes in the project or goal may occur, and this can be a time of reaping the rewards. The urge to grow and expand is strong. If we've been overreaching, however, it may be time to adjust our expectations. We may want to make a move, but don't know where to begin or where to go with our intentions just for now. While unexpected changes in plans or events can test our patience, they might also bring on new approaches, leading to useful, instructive, or interesting detours. With retrograde Mercury conjunct Venus, we're compromising, slipping into someone else's shoes, negotiating and harmonizing, or at least trying to. The tendency to think and talk about our feelings, beliefs, and relationship is strong. We may be intellectualizing feelings and affections. It's a cooperative influence that stimulates our desire for harmony and balance, and as a result, we may not dig too deeply. Mentally, we're not as disciplined as usual, preferring to chat with others and think about pleasant things. It's a sociable time, but it's also a time for looking back at old issues in a new, although possibly glossed over way. Whether or not glossing over is helpful may be a question, but some things belong in the past. We can feel as though we are starting fresh, and certainly our ideas feel new and exciting, even if we are recycling old perspectives. So let's check out the Schumann Resonance here. And the solar flares, let's see what's going on there, and then we'll jump into our 5 mental faculties. All right. All right, so the Schumann, as you can see, nothing too significant. We do have some red, a little bit, but I feel like it's normal. This is natural for us to be experiencing a little bit of removal. We kind of always need to be removing energies. So solar flares, that's as of yesterday. The effect of the far side eruption on September 5th seems to be still lingering in near Earth environment. Let's check on here. Solar flares, large prominence. So I've reported everything so far. We good then. I have a live feed of all this stuff. Transits, all the things going into my Discord. So keep myself up to date. If I can turn that down on my video going. Whoops. There we go. All right. So there's a trick to staying in charge of our mindset. We really want to learn and get into the habit of staying in charge of our mindset. So we don't want circumstances and outside things to be influencing what we've been working so hard on to manifest. So we've been working really hard to keep our mindset in alignment, and we don't want to be derailed. So we look at it as being derailed. And this is from Napoleon Hill. An educated person is not necessarily one who has an abundance of general or specialized knowledge. An educated person is one who has so developed the faculties of their mind that they may acquire anything that they want or its equivalent without violating the rights of theirs. So we really need to start understanding our mental faculties, understanding emotional regulation, and all of these things that are going to help us to remain in alignment towards these goals. So we have 5 major faculties that we use that we want to employ and discover and explore and strengthen. And that is perception, will, reason, imagination, and our intuition. So memory, reason, and intuition, it's our responsibility to learn how to utilize and develop these higher faculties to a greater degree. So a lot of manifestation is going to be understanding our intuition. So this is why we go through these exercises daily in the quantum transformation and community of learning. It's to guide people into understanding what your body feels like when you're right, when you get a right answer, because you have a 50-50 chance a lot of the time, because I just do 2 images. So 50-50 chance you're going to be right, but to understand what the feeling is inside of your body, that's what we're looking for. It's not about being right or wrong. When you're wrong, feel into your body. What does it feel like? It's going to feel different than when you employ your intuition and you pick the right answer based off of that. That's what we're strengthening right now. Our memory, there's not so much changing our memory. It's pretty much perfect. There's no such thing as bad memory. There are only memories that we want to heal, because some memories are really embedded in our body, especially if we've experienced trauma, and we really want to learn how to strengthen our memory in the sense of heal our images. Reason is what gives us the ability to think. Thinking is our highest function. It is our inductive reasoning faculty that gives us the ability to originate individual thoughts and bring them together in the formation of an idea. We can observe what we are doing and then think of the ideas of how we can do better. So we have the ability with our reasoning factor in our mind to constantly be evaluating ourselves, to constantly be checking in to see if, what we're doing. We want to become conscious on a deep level of everything that we're doing. Are we healing, the right areas? Are we staying in control? And in control, I don't want it to be a constrictive idea. In control of our mindset. Some of us that have mental health issues, if you experience anxiety and depression and stuff, if you've experienced trauma, it's normal. Your amygdala and your mind in a lot of different areas, when you were developing, if you experienced traumatic events, your amygdala was impacted is the word that I'm looking for. It was changed. It didn't function the same way or grow in the same way that other people's did. So that leaves us more open to anxiety, depression, bipolar, all of these things that are mental health, that are considered, mental health, are a byproduct of trauma. So understanding that we can learn to strengthen, our fight or flight response. We can learn to create safety and allow that to heal itself. Our mind has the ability to heal itself. our neural pathways can change. We're not hardwired and stuck, and that's that. So when we learn to use our reasoning factor, we can start learning this knowledge, and that really starts setting us free, because we understand that, yes, I've experienced trauma. Yes, there's a reason for the deeper healing. Yes, I understand that I do need to heal my mind because my amygdala is in stress response constantly, because that's what it learned to do to keep you safe. And that's your subconscious's mind. It's its job. So we can retrain that. We can use our reasoning knowledge that we acquire and keep acquiring and keep until we've got it on a deep conscious level, and we start making shifts. We have that ability with our reasoning factor to know these things. And we can know that, emotional regulation is one of the key factors to manifestation. If you don't know how to, work through in a healthy way your emotions, and you keep them trapped in your body, you're literally blocking yourself from manifestation. So this is why I find healing so important to combine with energy work, with manifestation, because otherwise you're blindly going against these walls, not understanding why you need to shift them and why the healing needs to happen. Once you know the why, the rest becomes a lot easier. So then we have perception. Our perception is our point of view. When we see something that causes us to think something cannot be done, we can change our perception of the situation and originate an idea on how it can be done. So this is that fly in the window syndrome, right? Our perception has us seeing something in a certain way, especially when there's emotions tied to it. And a lot of the time what we can do is we can shift. We can shift our perspective. We can see things in a different light, right? We can move 180 degrees and fly out of there. We don't have to beat our head against the window over and over and over again. So perception is really, really important. And that is very much linked to understanding emotional regulation. So if you haven't already, head over to mindbodysoulhealings.ca. Under courses, we have emotional regulation and co-regulation as a free course that we have created for people to help them to understand, because we can also use our partner and those around us. So if we educate, our partner with us on regulation, we can understand how to regulate each other. And this is why healers become so important to people, because we help regulate people around us. And it's a natural ability that we do. And that's why you're so magnetized to certain people. When you're stressed out, you want to be around certain people because they help you regulate. It's an energetic thing that we do on a consistent basis. So you can learn to do it for yourself. You can learn to do it for your family members, especially for your children. If this isn't something that you're learning, you should be learning it, because it is part of healthy attachment. So helping your children regulate on a consistent basis starts creating healthy attachments for them with you and your child, but also in the long run with them and their relationships in every part of their reality. So spending time with your child, holding them when they're upset, these are all things that help in the long run with them as adults. So you're doing a good job. Just keep learning. Perception is something a skill that we want to start honing, and it's something that we teach in our coaching programs, is how to emotional regulate and how to shift when we're having, tough days. Like yesterday, I took some self-care because I had just had a very intense day, and I didn't think that it would be healthy for myself to push through. I am very capable of doing that. I'm super high functioning, but what I've learned over the years is it doesn't help me in the long run with my manifestation and what my dreams and desires are. So our imagination creates fantasies. Fantasies is the first stage of creation of life. It is important to remember that without the aid of your imagination, there could be no creation in your life. Someone else will always be the star of your movie. So we want to, like we did in the whole inspired messages on the power of imagination, I guess we did. On Thursday last week, not this last week, the week before, we have a whole video on imagination. So this is one of the skills of your mind that you want to be honing in on, getting good at. If you've blocked yourself, we all possess the ability to use our imagination. It is there, it's inside of all of us. What happens sometimes though is we block ourselves because there's that collective consciousness of, dreamers are got their heads in the cloud and all of those stupid sayings that we need to, reprogram out of our existence, because your fantasy, when you understand the process of turning your fantasy into an actual goal and going after it through the process of manifestation, is an impeccably powerful, life-changing thing. So we don't want to just be dreamers, though. We don't want to just have this distant thing of something of how our life could be, because we can turn those imagination, we can use our imagination to turn it into a reality. So we also have will. Will gives you the ability to hold one picture on the screen of your mind to the exclusion of all outside distractions. The will gives you the ability to focus and concentrate. The more you practice developing your will, the stronger it will become. So we have the ability to say, when we're meditating, like, no, I'm not going to think about what I need to buy at the grocery store later. No, I'm not going to tell myself all these stories of anxiety. I'm not going to think about what my day is going to be like later on. What I'm going to do is, oh, my eyelash is poking me right in the eye, forgive me. What I'm going to do is use my willpower, and I'm going to spend this 5 minutes, 10 minutes with myself in absolute silence, allowing the higher consciousness, because meditation is your connection to the universe. It is your connection to your higher power and your higher self. This is where you're going to get your divine guidance from. So meditation is very important. If you have a hard time, it's just because your chakras are off and your energy needs to be balanced and realigned. And then you can start using your willpower to get yourself into a deeper meditation. And the more you can do this on a consistent basis, the more aligned your path is going to be. So your intuition. It is with your intuition that you pick up on vibrations and translate those vibrations into your mind. Your intuition permits you to know and know that you know what is happening around you. Intuition is often referred to as the sixth sense, which is a misnomer. It is not a sense, it is one of your higher faculties. So this is why we think it's so important about learning what it feels like to be using your intuition, because the stronger and more connected we get to our intuition, the more we can be led, the more we can give up control, because we'll have more trust in our intuition. And some of us, throughout life, we've moved away from understanding what our faculties are, and we have, emotional regulation, and these things are all what help us to keep our mindset, because we are in control of our reality. So when we have our imagination, we can get, strongly aligned, and we know this these inspired messages, we can get strongly aligned with creating our reality. With our perception, we have the ability to see things in different lights that serve us on a stronger level. We can unblock ourselves. We can create more freedom when we understand how to shift our perspective. Instead of coming from a wounded perspective, we can shift and stop taking everything so personally, and we can keep ourselves more in alignment with that higher purpose and what it is that we came here to do. So with our willpower, we can use that as combined with our persistence to see the bigger picture here and move towards it. Like with our intuition, when we use our willpower to meditate, and then we know and connect on a conscious level with our intuition, the outside circumstances no longer come in and shift us out of what it is that we're doing. And this takes practice. And that's why it's so important to work with a coach, because they help you with this. They guide you And doing this process and doing it repeatedly until it becomes a habit that is automatically deployed by the subconscious mind. So it's not that you can't do this stuff by yourself. That's why I'm doing these messages. But having somebody that understands this process, that understands these this formula, combined with, you know, intuitively shifting those things that are getting in the way, is how you create freedom and loosen things up with yourself. And we all do it, and we all should be doing it on a consistent basis. We all reach higher vibrations and higher consciousness when we work with somebody else that's already done it. You know, I'm going through my second round again here, working with a mentor, and looking forward to new shifts in perspective and reality, and opening things up for myself. And I think that it's important to invest in yourself. You know, we have to show ourselves through our outside results and act as if that we are worthy until it becomes something that is just one with us and we know that it's the case. So in the beginning, you might feel like imposter syndrome, but it's okay, because we understand that what we decide in our mind, our subconscious mind is not deductive. It doesn't know when you are pretending. It just knows that if you do it enough times, eventually it's going to accept it. And there's much more to this practice, but this 5 mental faculties is very much a part of this process. You want to understand your perception and how to shift it. You want to understand your imagination. You want to understand your willpower. You want to understand your intuition. You really want to become the creator of your existence. And when we get deep into this in my program, and I show you how to shift and raise your vibration almost instantly, I show you how to take triggers and move through them, even sometimes as they happen, how to calm with using your vagus nerve, how to bring yourself from the amygdala response to the front of your prefrontal cortex, and come back to your reasoning factor. I can show you how to do these proper techniques that will literally bring you from survival mode into thriving. And we have that ability, and we all deserve that. We all had a reason that we came into this life. We have a bigger purpose. And this is why I want to give these skills to you all, is I really want you guys to be moving into the life that you are feeling called. I feel like there's going to be some really big shifts energetically happening. We are coming up the end of October, beginning of November, into eclipse season again. And I want to show you guys how to energetically get into alignment with this process. So it's a 6-month portal that opens up for us that creates big change. And I'll discuss when we get into our video on the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse. They always come side by side, and they create a actual portal for 6 months of deep change that happens in our life. So we will reflect on the last 6 months portal of the last eclipses, and you guys can get a deep understanding over the time that we do this, how this shifts your life in each time that it happens. So thank you for joining me. No PowerPoint today. I didn't have time, and I've had a lot of things going on. So that's the 5 mental faculties. I just wanted to touch on them briefly. Tomorrow we'll go into self-image. I'll spend a lot more time on that one. It's not going to be at 11 a.m. It's going to have to be at 4 p.m. because I picked up an overtime shift. So I will see you guys at 4 p.m. I will change the time on the event here in just a moment. Okay. Love you guys. I will see you tomorrow.